Kennedy, are you guys nuts? And then Seattle, home of the $15 an hour minimum wage, and the socialist immigrant that hates the country who moved here and wants just more money. The faux economist. God hasn't that industry in like I can't even call it my industry anymore. I guess it never was. But my God, has that field goal down the pot. I want to write a post, the general premise of which, take something like computer engineering. Okay, there's success. Computers are getting more powerful. Computers are getting faster rendering speeds, higher resolution. Computers are improving. Cars getting more fuel efficient, safer, longer ranges, more amenities put in the car. It's improving. You look at the economics profession, it's failing. The economy is not growing. We have a ton of increasing amounts of debt. I mean, if we were to apply performance standards that we do to other industries, corporations, of any industry, it doesn't matter which, are your earnings increasing? And if you look at economics, economic growth is decreasing. And that's the number one variable. That's the number one metric that you would use to measure and ascertain whether economists know what the F they're doing. And since economic growth is decreasing, despite the population growing, they're failing. All these people who are like in government, all these government economists who are in all these economic policy institutes, as a whole, the economics profession is filled with a bunch of failures. Then you throw in the national debt, labor force participation, all this other stuff, you're miserable failures. Oh, I know why they're still in there. They're in there because of politics. I'm saying, like, if we were to step back, and it has nothing to do with politics, if you were to look at the performance of the economics profession and what the economists and the professional economists are recommending, and we've basically said, okay, we've been doing Keynesianism since what, 1971 essentially? We've been following what you people over in academia spit out and start sending into these think tanks and government entities, the Council of Economic Growth and the Federal Reserve. You guys suck. You guys suck. And not only do you suck, you're failures. You're miserable failures. Mathematics, this is not my opinion. It's a fact. You guys don't know what the heck you're doing. You're wrong. You're bad. You're not good at your job. You should do something else. You should all be fired. Your profession is bogus now. It's BS. You don't know what you're talking about. But again, like, it's politics, obviously. This gal comes in from India, marries a guy who's the IT guy. She gets her doctorate in economics, doesn't work in the field, runs for office after becoming a citizen after, 2 years. And just a socialist. She studied economics. She has a doctorate in economics, and she's a socialist. You didn't pay attention. You obviously didn't pay attention to any history at all. None. But again, it's not economics. It's politics. Economists are just politicians who are really good at numbers. And by really good, I mean able to do statistical analysis and lie about it. They're very good numbers people, and they know how to spin it. But let's be very clear. They're not economists. They're not good at getting the economy growing. They're not good at lowering debts, decreasing trade deficits, increasing employment, lowering unemployment, lowering underemployment. God almighty, they won't even admit or look to or address or come up with a plan on how to deal with unfunded liabilities. So not only are they incompetent, they're cowards. Because again, first and foremost, they're the empiricists but they're not empiricists. They are what would they be? What do you call someone that is hired to find data that supports something that isn't true? Propagandists? They're numerical propagandists. They're like Goebbels? Who was Hitler's? Numerical propaganda. I like that. They're numerical propagandists. What was Hitler's propaganda minister? Actually, Goebbels, yeah. Goebbels. Is this the weird looking guy? What did he look like? They're all kind of weird looking. Goering was fat. Oh yeah, this guy. Oh yeah. Man, I'm not one for you can't trust, read a book by its cover. This guy, you could trust. This guy had, not a trustworthy man, just all. Yeah, that's not a guy you want hanging around your daughters. It's not a guy you want hanging around your son. It's just a guy you don't want hanging around. They kill this guy? Did we put him to death? Anti-church. Oh, he was... You guys, any of you see Downfall? Dark movie, very dark movie. Okay, yeah, in office. Minister. Where's his life? Date born, date died. Let's go here. Okay, born 1897. Died May 1st, 1945. All right, he must have been either killed by the Russians or committed suicide. Propagandist in Berlin. Anti-Semitism, anti-straw man of power, war. Good Lord. If I don't have a bigger Wikipedia entry by the time I'm dead, I'm going to be pissed. I guess that's how it works, though. Evil people who do incredibly evil things are going to obviously gain more and garner more historical attention. Not that I'm looking for historical attention, I'm just saying. I don't know. One of you guys knows if he was killed or murdered or suicide or something. Anyway, my point is... Today's economists in both academia and government, and Lord knows probably even in the banks and everything, I just don't see any, even The Economist, the magazine, they're just numerical propagandists. That's all they are. Because and this is where I got to really worry about, quote, my profession. And I've even written about it before, but there's coming a time where you can't even trust the numbers anymore. A real economist would want to be very thorough and serious about his methodologies, making sure that what he or she is measuring is precisely what they're measuring. Well, they keep tinkering with these, this is why you have shadowstats.com. They keep tinkering with how do we measure unemployment? How do we measure GDP? How do we measure this? How do we measure that? Unemployment today would be, 25% of whatever they say it is if we use the same measure that we did back in 1929. But even with that tinkering that's going on, you still look at the data, and there's still failures. Even with this data that is optimistic at best, probably no longer measures what it really does. Probably overstates the economic growth and understates the debt and all this other stuff. They still fail by their own metrics. And so, but again, that assumes you are naive, like some of my friends. My dad, we still believe these government people are here to help. They're just trying their best. They just don't understand how it works. If you want to believe that, that's fine. If you want to believe what I believe, and pretty much I know to be true, these are politicians. They don't want real jobs. They just want to have a lot of money. They want to have a lot of power. They never want to dirty their hands with physical labor. They need numerical propagandists to spin this. How does Krugman wake up every morning? I know he knows it. At least he knows what side is. I don't think for a second he believes half the crap that comes out of his mouth. Robert Reich, I kind of actually do believe, but I think maybe he's so stuck in leftist preferentials, or a preference to be a socialist or a leftist, and he was so indoctrinated in Keynesianism. A lot of these central bankers, these even Alan Greenspan, he didn't believe the argument he made why Bitcoin didn't have value was not convincing. And it proved to me, you want to talk about one, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but you want to talk about a point in time where all of a sudden I realized, hey, my little brain here might be slightly better than average than your average economist, is when Alan Greenspan didn't understand Bitcoin and why it would have value to the level that I did. I'm like, this is not a great argument. You're missing so many things here. So if that chairman of the Fed, who I looked up to as an economist, if the chairman of the Fed is kind of not punching at the same way you are in a couple key categories, you're kind of wondering, maybe this profession, you guys actually are susceptible enough to believe Keynesianism. It isn't about power or control for you. You actually believe this crap. You don't have the ability to stop and, how long are we going to keep going down this road? When are you economists going to wake up and say, hey, my favorite chart is where economic growth is decreasing. No one looks at that. That should be plastered on like Wall Street Journal, Investor Business Daily, The Economist, Journal of a Political Economic Economy, all this other, where they have, no, he doesn't have a doctorate. He doesn't have Keynes' dick in his mouth. Well, I guess if you have your doctorate, it goes all the way down your throat. Is that like deep throating for you economists? You get your doctorate, that means you deep throated Keynes' dick? Then bachelor's. Well, I just licked around the. Okay. Not a cursed podcast yet, ladies and gentlemen. Haven't cursed once yet. Come on, guys, wake up. For you economists out there that really are economists and you want to help the economy grow, go look at whether or not the economy is growing or not. Look at the rate of growth. Or the rate of growth. Look at what's happening to average economic growth over time. And then you're going to see we got big problems. But then again, if you're a leftist socialist whore, if you're a shill like Krugman, like Yellen, like all these other economists that work in the government, and you just don't give a crap, you just want your government paycheck, and you're going to spew the leftist socialist, fine. Then you're responsible, just like Goebbels was, for ruining millions of people's lives. The only difference, Goebbels killed people. You just starved people, or lowered their standard of living, or maybe had an effect on poverty, maybe increased suicide a little bit. All the bad things that come with lower economic growth or slowing economic growth. You're responsible for that. You collect your government check, that's fine, that's good. You tell Obama and the Council of Economic Advisors, you tell people what they want to hear, so you get your government job and your government check. But let's be very clear, had you done your real job and pointed out what's really happening and helped the economy grow, less people would have died, less people would have been sick, less people would have been depressed, less people would have been born into single-parent households, all that, less crime, less victims of crime, all of that would have happened. I know it's proving a false positive. We're like, well, how do you know? Well, you're right, I don't. I really don't. But, based on what I know about economics, when the economy grows, social ills tend to decrease. When people are wealthier, problems tend to go away. That's just historically how it's been. But hey, that's all right. You got your 6-figure government salary. You have a doctorate in economics from McKinsey in school. You're from commanding heights, allocating trillions of dollars into different aspects of the economies and the sectors, and you still can't get the economy to grow. It's still slowing. If you're all right with that, you can live with yourself. Go ahead. I just don't want to have anyone telling me I'm not a real economist. Or my favorite is whatever, well, look who couldn't hack it in banking. It's like, no, I hacked it. I hacked it for 15 years. I did have a career. It did pay for a house almost. And I wasn't just like playing pickup sticks. But if hack it means lying and making loans to people, like I had one boss, she made 1 in every 2 of the loans went into default. She ruined scores of people's lives. She sent people into bankruptcy by lending them money they couldn't afford to pay back. That's hacking it? That's success? Bullshit. I'll be fine sleeping okay that I at least was on the right side of that one. At least I tried to prevent bad things from happening. And you couldn't hack it in banking. What industry required $1 trillion bailout? Which one? Who was trying to stop it? It doesn't work, people. It just doesn't work. Okay, you gotta understand. Well, it's like I couldn't hack it as a communist in Stalin's Soviet Union. Oh, look who can't hit. Oh, I guess I couldn't hack it as a gasser in Auschwitz. Oh, look who couldn't handle it as an SS gasser at the Nazi concentration camps. Well, I guess you failed. Okay. I failed at evil. I guess I suck. That's what it is. I failed at doing bad things to people. And that's your argument that I shouldn't be listened to. All right. Just wanna know. I failed at stopping the human Nazi experiments. Oh, you must really suck at your profession. Oh. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, you economists, you numerical propagandists, good luck. You're not. You might fool a lot of people, but you're not fooling me. You're not fooling people who are in the industry who actually know. You're not fooling the Ludwig von Mises Institute. You're not fooling the Austrians. You can't even call them Austrians. It's just people who got common sense. It's people who know you can't spend your way out. Heck, even Keynes knew it. Even Keynes said there was a limitation to it. But you guys just don't give a shit. You're just like, screw all, let's go. Printing presses all the way. You're so cowardly because you depend on the U.S. currency as a reserve currency. That's the only way you guys can pull this crap off. All right, I'm done. I'm not going to get, because I know deep down you guys don't care. It's like, you don't care. I'm not going to win you over. I'm not going to convince you. So I know you know what you're doing. I know you know what you're doing. So I'm sorry to have wasted your time. I'm just trying to explain to the commoners out there who actually believe your lies that we can just print off more money and deficit still. I just want them to wake up and realize what's happening and just how you have completely failed them as government economists, as economists in general, and the economics profession is just a joke now. That's all I wanted to point out. You're like the media. You're a joke of a profession. You're just a propagandist tool. You merely provide the numbers to the media and the government. That's it. You're just Joseph Goebbels. That's all you are. Except maybe you don't hate Jews as much. That's it. That's all it is. And with that, let us go to our sponsor list. If you don't want numerical propaganda, if you want reality, if you don't want to be lied to, well, come visit me over at assholeconsulting.com. I'm smarter than the average bear. I'm a better economist than most. But I'm also older than you, likely, depending on listeners. But if you need a little bit of advice and wisdom and guidance, and you want it cheap and dirty, you want it quick, bluntly truthful, and painful, you want it like the sour medicine that you need that will really cure your problems, come talk to me at assholeconsulting.com, right? Otherwise, you can spend $400 an hour talking to a chick therapist who majored in child psychology and got her doctorate, and touchy-feely and still believes in Freud and Jung, and, how do you feel about how do you feel about your parents? What do you think about? Here's a Rorschach test. Tell me what you see. When you're done with that kind of HR bullshit, except it's in the psychological profession, or you just need some guidance and wisdom and your guidance counselor is lying to you? Well, do you like puppies? Because I hear Harvard University is going to have a new program called Puppies and Kittens. You can major in puppies and kittens at Harvard now. Right? When you're done being lied to and you want to have actual progress in life, come talk to me. I'll tell you the truth. Can't guarantee success, but I can guarantee you it's going to be shorter, sweeter, and much more effective. Well, I can't say it's going to be much more effective. I'd like to think it'd be much more effective, and I think it would be much more effective. I just can't prove it will be. So go to Asshole Consulting.